Starfield is probably going to suck. Starfield is going to be glitchy and buggy on release. No Man's Sky, but brown, buggy, and worse. The entire internet has been preying on Starfield's downfall. Starfield is Bethesda's first new IP in over 25 years, and their first release since the less than impressive Fallout 76. They've been in full development of Starfield for over 7 years, compared to 5 years for Fallout 4. It would be an understatement to say that a lot is riding on this game. It's easily the biggest release of the year, but I would go so far as to say it's the most important release in Xbox's history. The Xbox Series S and X still does not have that must-buy AAA exclusive game. With releases like Halo Infinite failing to meet expectations and Redfall being absolutely disastrous, Starfield can't just be good. This game needs to be nearly perfect. Well, it's finally here, and I've played about 50 hours of it, rolled credits on the main quest, and explored as much of its vast universe as I've had the time to do so. So, did they pull it off? Let's talk about it. Quick side note, this will be spoiler-free. I won't be covering the important story beats, and we'll be avoiding some of the late game mechanics and surprises, but I will cover everything the game has to offer. Now, I want to paint a picture of what the general Starfield experience is before jumping into the more specific details. You'll start off by, of course, making your own character, designing their appearance with a fairly complex character design tool. You select one background and pick 3 traits, and these things will have a pretty big impact on your overall game experience. And then you start your journey. In my first 5 to 7 hours, it basically felt like Skyrim in space. You're accepting quests from various factions, exploring vast environments and detailed interiors, flying from planet to planet, choosing dialogue options, upgrading your skills, and engaging in the occasional gunfight. At first, it really just felt like a very traditional Bethesda game, but set in space. And that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. And honestly, I was a bit underwhelmed at first, and I was very overwhelmed by all of the complex systems within this game. Navigating the star map is daunting, managing the user interface, understanding where to fly, how to land, and what objective you should be going to was all a bit too complicated at first. However, at around the 7-hour mark, it began to click. Once you learn how to properly navigate the UI, especially the star map, you'll be exploring the galaxy with ease, and it starts to get good. Really damn good. Which brings me to my first topic. Let's talk about the game world. When Todd Howard said there would be 100 handcrafted planets and 1,000 planets in total, he was not lying. The world is absolutely massive. And sometimes when a game is designed to be so massive, the game world can feel empty, but not Starfield. Now in 50 hours, I don't think I've even scratched the surface of what this game has to offer. It's just that massive, but I have explored a large variety of planets. But every planet I've explored so far has felt fascinating, unique, and engaging. Some planets are filled with alien life, both passive and aggressive. Some have large colonies of people living on them, and some are more barren. But even the most barren planets that aren't teeming with life are still a blast to explore due to the unique POIs. Whether it's a farm, a secret underground bunker, a cave, or a pirate-controlled outpost, the feeling of mystery and exploration you get in this game is completely unmatched. I just love seeing an outpost from a distance, slowly approaching and gathering intel from above before dropping in and wiping every enemy off the face of the planet. It's extremely satisfying, and there is always good loot to be found after clearing an area. Or exploring a barren moon when you see an undiscovered geological feature pop up on your UI, only to discover that it leads into a mysterious underground cave. This game absolutely nails the feeling of exploring the galaxy and keeps you hooked and wanting more the entire time. In addition to exploring the wilderness on various planets, there are massive cities on these planets as well, like the huge corporatized metropolis of New Atlantis, or the dangerous crime-ridden city of Neon, or even a mining city on Mars called Sidonia. These cities are densely populated, filled with vendors, side quests, and insane levels of detail. There are times when I stop and just think to myself, how the hell did they pull this off? So they nailed the game world, but is it actually fun to play? Let's talk about the gameplay. I'm gonna start by saying this is easily the most smooth and responsive game that Bethesda has ever made, and it's not really even close. You can play the entire game in first and third person, of course, just like their previous titles, and either one works great, but I played the vast majority of this game in first person. I think we all know that Bethesda is not known for their combat, but honestly, the combat and gunplay specifically is really enjoyable in Starfield. The gunplay is snappy, and your guns definitely carry weight to them, whether you're using pistols, shotguns, rifles, or even some sort of laser gun. It doesn't feel like you're shooting BBs. There are even hit markers that inform you on whether you landed your shot, maybe had a critical hit, or eliminated the enemy. kind of similar to Call of Duty. Now, as far as bullet sponges go, of course, there are a few heavily armored enemies, but the large majority of these enemies will go down pretty quickly as long as you're using a decent weapon that is right around your same level. One of my favorite weapons I found so far by just stumbling upon it on a weapons rack in some outpost was this silenced DMR with a laser sight and the ability to set enemies on fire via its white-hot ammo rounds. It easily picks off enemies with a single shot to the head, and it's immensely satisfying to use. Speaking of weapons, all of these weapons are fully customizable. You just need to approach a weapons bench and you can change and upgrade every piece of every weapon. The detail of this system shocked me. And there are even weapon skins, but I haven't unlocked those yet, but I'm very curious to see what those are like. You can use other benches to upgrade your armor and craft various supplies as well. However, much of all of this is locked behind upgrading your research via a research station. It's a very deep station and isn't necessary to progress the game, but if this is your thing, it's definitely worth the time. General character movement is smooth as well, with the animations looking great and overall movement feeling natural and easy to master. The sprint speed is nice and fast, making traversal a non-issue, and paired with the boost pack, getting around is easy enough since there are no on-land vehicles in this game. There are different types of boost packs as well, some that shoot you higher into the air, or some that are better for more lateral movements. That's the one I use because it helps you in combat kind of get the edge on your enemies. A big part of Starfield's gameplay is of course your ship. You have full freedom to fly wherever you'd like in the space above each planet, but traversing to other planets or other galaxies does require you to use your grav drive, and that will introduce you to a small loading screen, but it's literally about less than a second. You can't manually land on planets either. You need to use your star map to kind of pick the location you want to land on. There was some uproar about this before Starfield's release because I think people were used to No Man's Sky, but honestly, after 50 hours, it's not an issue, and that literally wouldn't have been possible just based on a technical level. The detail and fidelity of this game is just way too high. Ship combat is also a great time. You have multiple weapons you can use at once, and you can actually allocate different power levels to different sections of your ship. For example, each weapon or your shield, engine, or grav drive based on the situation. So if you need to get out of there, you may pump up the power to your engines. But if you're in a full combat scenario, you may scale down the engine, scale down the grav drive, and boost up your shield and weaponry. It's a unique and fun experience. And there are a ton of ships to choose from. I barely even scratched the surface of this. I actually kept my default ship for the majority of the game because early on, I saw a ship in the shop that I wanted so badly, and it was extremely expensive, over 260,000 credits. So I saved my money, and kind of towards the end of the game, I ended up purchasing that ship, and it was so worth it. I really felt ownership of my ship in this game. I don't know what it is that they did to create that, but I felt like it was mine, and I treasured my ship. Now, of course, when you buy a better ship, it's going to fly faster, it's going to maneuver better, it's going to have better shields and more firepower. But the coolest thing is that even the interior of your ship drastically changed. This was the interior of the default ship, pretty basic, pretty small, and this was the interior of the expensive upgraded ship that I bought. It was way bigger, and all of these rooms are useful. You can use them to store items. It allows more room for your crew. It's really a great system. You can also breach enemy ships, take out their crew, and actually steal the ship for yourself. You do this by engaging in space combat and targeting the ship's engines. Once you take the engines out, you can dock on that ship, raid it, wipe out the crew, and it is a really, really cool and intense experience. The music ramps up. It's just done so well. Now, in this part, I was actually trying to steal this ship, so I took out the engines, docked, took out the crew, only to find that the ship was actually being piloted by pirates, and the owner of the ship was tied up in the cockpit. At that point, I had the option to steal the ship for myself, but I decided to be a nice guy, freed the owner, and gave him his ship back. It's little surprises like that that make this game so incredibly fun. Additional gameplay elements include a full-fledged shipbuilder where you can modify existing ships, buy upgrades for your ships. It totally changes the appearance and the functionality and even the interior of your ship when you use this tool. I didn't dive too much into it though. There's also an outpost design element, kind of like what you would use in Fallout 4 to build your home base. You can choose any planet you want, put down an outpost beacon, and build to your heart's content. I actually didn't spend too much time in this, but I did place an outpost down and messed around with it for a little while, and it was really cool. You can do everything at these outposts. You can have a crew quarters, so you can assign crew members, you can grow plants, hang up weapons, you can put various workbenches in there that allow you to upgrade different supplies and weapons and armor, and you can even build robots and machines that actually extract nutrients nutrients from the ground and help you gather more materials faster. Overall, it's a huge step up from the system that was in Fallout 4, and if this is your thing, I assume people are going to spend so much time building massive outposts, and I can't wait to see what everyone does. Next, let's talk about quest design. Quest design in this game is very reminiscent of past Bethesda titles, but vastly improved upon. Basically, it has that Bethesda DNA, but it's so much better than it's ever been before. There, of course, is a branching main quest line, and then almost limitless faction quests, side quests, and more. There are various outcomes within each quest that all depend on your decisions and your dialogue choices, and the overall freedom you have to complete quests your way is extremely impressive. For example, there's a mission where you need to get something of value from a very wealthy collector of ancient artifacts. During your conversation with him, you can attempt to persuade him to show you the artifact, where you can then attempt to negotiate a price. However, if you attempt this persuasion and fail, you are presented with three options. You can attack him, pick the lock on the vault door, which requires a very high-level lockpick skill, or pickpocket the vault key directly from him. I actually did something different entirely that wasn't even presented to me as an option. After our conversation, I searched around and I actually found his office, and on his desk was the vault key just sitting there. I grabbed the key and it allowed me to unlock and slip into the vault, get what I came there for, completely undetected. That is until I left the vault and everyone realized what I had done, and all hell broke loose and I had to eliminate the entire crew and the captain. But that's beside the point. Nearly every mission is like this. There are multiple options and you play the game how you want to play it. And I know a lot of games claim that, and Bethesda has done that in the past, but never like this. You play this game exactly how you want, and you're not punished for it, you're encouraged to do it. I also found a really cool side quest where there was a mysterious ship that was being attacked. It was literally pinged as mysterious ship, and I defended it from the attackers and then boarded this mysterious ship, where I discovered there were two men trying to install some sort of virus or malware onto a sentient AI computer system. They were trying to take the computer over. So I told the men I would help. I talked to the AI, made the judgment call that the AI was very much alive, and so I killed both men on board. The AI thanked me and then went on its way. And to this day, I still wonder if I'll see that AI-controlled ship again. I'm feeling like I will, but I haven't yet. When you create your character, you pick from a selection of traits and background options, and those also play a role in the quests, how they play out, and what dialogue options are available. It's really done quite well. Overall, the quests are varied, not even remotely repetitive, and extremely fun to do. Yes, they nailed this part too. I now want to talk about the story and characters. Now, I'm not going to touch too much on the main story because, of course, I'm going to leave that for all of you to discover on your own, but I will say that it's certainly unique, keeps you interested in wanting to learn more, and there are some really crazy surprises, so look forward to the main story. It's wonderful. There are even some truly heartbreaking moments that I still to this day wish that I could go back in time, make a different decision, and hopefully have a different outcome. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but it's pretty crushing. Your decisions in this game matter very, very much. Just remember that. Outside of the main story, you'll take part in various faction missions with engaging storylines that involve being a ranger busting criminals, a soldier carrying out military missions, a smuggler for a crime ring, a space pirate, a space explorer, and many, many more that I probably haven't even discovered yet. If you like a story centered around action, I definitely recommend jumping into the ranger faction missions. Once you're made a deputy, one of your missions involves going to a distant moon to capture or eliminate a wanted kingpin. You land on this moon and are instantly greeted by a massive enemy stronghold. The scale in this game is a huge standout, by the way. You'll enter the stronghold and work your way up to the top while fighting wave after wave of enemy before reaching the kingpin. It's all a blast. This mission was super thrilling, and this is what a lot of the ranger missions are. So if you like combat, jump into the ranger faction missions. Now, to talk about characters, the characters in this game are beautifully voice acted and beautifully designed. This is a massive step up from previous Bethesda titles. I need to make that super clear. There are no wonky facial animations here. Characters react appropriately and beautifully to things you say and do and the world around them. You'll meet politicians, military leaders, cultists, pirates, farmers, criminals, and many more. But the real stars of the show here are your companions. You build relationships with each individual companion, and they even build relationships with each other, which causes them to react dynamically to different situations. You have an entire companion management system that you can use to assign crew members to your ship, to your outpost, and you can even take them out on missions with you depending on their expertise. Of course, you can romance your companions as well. I won't go into details because this is a fun surprise, but I am getting married to one of my companions. The date is set. I just have to wait in-game time for them to plan the wedding and stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. It's a fun thing. Now, like I've said before, your decisions matter in this game. If you do something that your companions don't agree with, for example, killing an innocent person or stealing a ship out in space, they will get very upset with you, and they will even leave your ship and return to the lodge, which is basically the headquarters of the constellation, which is kind of your posse. They'll leave your ship and they won't come back. They'll stay in the lodge and refuse to come back. And I tried remedying a situation like this with one of the girls, but I couldn't do it, and she just didn't like me. So like I said, your decisions matter, and it can cause you to lose crew members forever. Now, as you can see so far, I'm pretty damn impressed with what Bethesda has pulled off with Starfield. So let's talk about the icing on the cake, the visuals and audio. Start by taking anything you remember from Skyrim or Fallout when it comes to the graphics and remove that from your brain. Those games were never known for their graphical fidelity, but this game is absolutely jaw-dropping. I honestly didn't expect it to look anywhere near as good as it looks. This new creation Engine 2 that Bethesda made specifically for Starfield really shines. And not just in a few areas. Everything, and I mean everything in this game, looks to be meticulously designed and handcrafted. Character faces are some of the best looking faces in the industry, which is absolutely shocking when you think back to Skyrim and Fallout and the facial design in those games. This is a brand new Bethesda. The characters just look so good, and it becomes apparent the moment you start the game. When you have this woman in your face, and I'm blown away by the eyes, the skin. It just looks so damn good. There's something they're doing with the lighting in this game that just makes everything look incredible. When you turn on your lamp and light up an area, when a character puts on a helmet and the lights are lighting up their face inside the glass, there's something about it that just looks incredible. I think I creeped out every single member of my crew by just spending hours staring at their face from like 2 feet away, just in awe. It really looks that good. The planet landscapes themselves are really the star of the show here. They're vast, atmospheric, and absolutely a sight to behold. From distant mountains to sun rays to fog-covered vistas, the visuals just beg you to explore. From frozen icy planets to more forest-based planets to deserts, the environments are truly gorgeous, and the same can be said for the animals or aliens living within these environments. I never saw the same animal twice either, meaning when I would travel to another planet, each planet clearly had its own kind of identity and habitat, its own beautiful and sometimes terrifying wildlife to go with it. Just the objects in this game are even highly detailed. I love walking around and looking at the various computers and command centers and interfaces in this game. Textures are extremely detailed even when getting up close. And when in first person, your weapon looks awesome. This is Bethesda Reborn and at its absolute best. Now, as far as audio goes, the soundtrack itself reminds me a ton of Star Wars in the best way possible. The music and ambient sounds totally set the scene for whatever you're doing. In many games, I actually turn the music off, but in this game, it was just too damn good to do that. The in-game sound effects also fit the world so well and are so incredibly convincing. You won't hear super futuristic spaceship sounds in this game. The game wants to make you feel grounded in reality, and it does a great job at achieving this. The spaceships and weapons sound familiar, but different. The aliens sound, well, alien, but it's still so convincing and really helps you feel a part of the world you're experiencing, and it does not feel video gamey. Here's a few examples of the audio in this game. Now, I could probably talk for 2 more hours about Starfield, but I didn't want to make this video too long for you all. We've at least touched on everything, so what's the verdict? Did they pull it off? I can definitively say that Starfield is the best game that Bethesda has ever made, and it's not even close. This game is so good and so polished and so bug-free that at times it feels like this is a game that Bethesda could have never made. And I don't say that disrespectfully. Bethesda is just not known for their polished games, especially at launch. It's the epitome of a AAA experience in 2023. In fact, they may need to create their own category for this game because it's hard to compare this to most AAA games. It's just mind-blowing how something so vast and so massive in scale can be so incredibly polished. Every single corner of this game was clearly made with an extreme attention to detail and a deep love and passion for making video games. So Xbox fans, after a long time of waiting, you all finally have another must-play, timeless classic on your hands. And not to sound like a shill or anything, but I honestly just want to congratulate the team at Bethesda for what they've pulled off. It's a monumental achievement. You proved the entire internet wrong who was doubting you for years and pulled off the unthinkable. Well done. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to be coming out with numerous Starfield videos every single week. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss more of this. And if you did like the video, feel free to leave a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good time exploring space. Peace.